I think it's appropriate to mention that this recording was not made in a concert hall or recital hall. It was made in a workshop, um, a, um, a steel building right across the street from the lab that I worked at in Berkeley, California, when I worked for Cutter Laboratories. The shop, proprietor of the shop, the piano shop, was Sheldon Smith, a piano tuner and builder. The size of the room, it's not a tiny room, but neither is it really a spacious, an overly spacious place. This is not the Music Verein. And there were other pianos in various states of repair and pieces, and there was a lot of what you would call clutter in the room, and yet they had the beneficial effect of breaking up echo and so forth. So the room didn't sound horrible, it just does not embellish the sound with a natural beauty. So it really lays bare the most important element of this recording, which is Hyperion Knight's great talent. His talent reminds me of what I've read about Franz Liszt. Franz Liszt was a great showman. He's been called the first musical superstar. He would have fans, begging to get into his performances. And he also, like Hyperion, was a very powerful, dynamic performer. He would break pianos, and which gave people mixed feelings about supplying Mr. Liszt with pianos. I'm not sure how many pianos Hyperion has broken, but he does play with great intensity and dynamics. The microphones that I used for this recording were my favorites. The Schoeps omnidirectional mics. They were positioned closely enough so that in spaced omni configuration, so that the piano really sounds like it's in your room rather than you being transported to another beautiful sounding space. I think that's appropriate. The instrument itself is not well known. It was actually built by Sheldon Smith, so it's a custom piano. It has its own character, and the character on this instrument has a very powerful left hand, a lot of power in the lows, and it has kind of a ringing quality in the very uppermost register. And Hyperion plays it extraordinarily well. The Beethoven Waldstein, he's very knowledgeable about that. He had received his doctorate of musical arts from the Cleveland Institute of Music, and his dissertation was on this piece of music. So it's a definitive recording of that piece of music. The other piece, the Stravinsky Petrushka, I think is particularly well served in this recording. It's an angular piece of music, and so the lack of a long room ambient decay serves this piece quite well. I think particularly in the second half of the piece of music, it's brilliant and quite wonderful and very, very colorful. The recording was praised by Harry Pearson, the Absolute Sound, and was on his recommended recording list for a number of years. It was never released in compact disc format. Of course, the Petrushka was the second of the three great pieces that form the ballet trilogy of Stravinsky between the years 1910 and 1914. It was probably the most successful ballet. Cheryl and I saw that ballet a couple of years ago in St. Petersburg at the Mariinsky with Gergiev conducting, and it is it's in a way it's a simpler ballet to produce, but it's so arresting and clear what is happening. And it was originally written for piano and orchestra, so it's very appropriate to hear this piano rendition. And in this you can very easily picture this puppet which comes to life and dances around and creates all kinds of mischief for the orchestra, and then finally at the very end falls lifeless to the ground. It was the first recording that I made of Hyperion, and it was a harbinger of things to come in the succeeding recordings. We recorded him in various halls with Steinway pianos and other pianos. If you enjoy this recording, I think you're really going to love the subsequent recordings.